Hello everyone, it's Professor Gray again. Welcome back. It's great to see you, and it's time for week 7. That's right, week 7 of our Practical English TOEFL class. The emails from you are good. A lot of you are asking very good questions, and some of you have no questions, and that's of course okay. I'm assuming you're doing well, you're getting the work done. The timing, most of you had really good timing on that exercise that we'll talk about later. If your time is a little bit slow, don't worry too much about it just right now. It takes time to build that up. What I'm trying to do is force you to understand the idea of timing in a full-length passage, and that's why the review exercises are good for that. The ones in the chapters are shorter, and they're more focused on one specific question instead of more than one question type instead of more than one. So you use those ones to sort of go a little slower and build up the strategy of how you want to answer them, practice the strategy, and get comfortable with the question type. Then you go to the review exercises that are full length, like a real passage, and those ones you need to sort of focus on the question type, the strategies you've learned, and the timing. Right. So let's just get into our review. Actually, before we get into the review, I do want to mention that our midterm test is going to be in week 9. This is week 7. So it'll be in week 9, so 2 weeks from today. As far as I know, they must be online. If we can have it in class, if it's possible, I would like to do that, of course. I would love to meet you, see you, and it would be better to have an exam in the classroom, of course. If it's not possible, then I will send you an exam that you will do live by email. So I'll send you the email during the class time. You'll have a specific amount of time to finish the test and email your answers back to me. And if it's late, if you email it late, you'll of course lose points, or after a certain point get 0. So timing will be very important on the midterm test. I'll give you more information next week. I'm going to check and see if there's any way for us to do the test here at the school first. But for now, plan to be ready during class time in week 9 for an email that will include the test and a specific amount of time to do the test. Any questions you can ask me in the email. Next week, I will also give you more information on material to cover, the material that the test will cover in week 9. Okay, thank you for those that asked. Those were good questions that you asked. Page 39, we're looking at sentence insertion, the little black square where you put the sentence in. Now, a few of you had good comments and questions about this. The key here is you read the bold sentence very carefully, okay? That's number 1. You must read it and understand it. And there's always a clue. I call it a clue word. It's a word that gives you a clue as to where and how it connects in the passage. It's very similar to reference, and usually it connects back. The rule is if the clue word or clue words come at the beginning of the bold sentence, it'll connect back to the sentence before. If those clue words come at the end of the bold sentence, it usually connects forward to the next sentence in the passage. But it's much more common to connect back than forward. Look at number 6 on page 39, accidental inventions. Remember we talked about rugby and the Post-it note, and here are a couple other accidental inventions. They enjoyed the comfort of performing in underwear rather than costumes. Now right away, I'm hoping you notice that the key word here is they. Who are they? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. When you see a word, and especially a pronoun like they, that's the clue word because you don't know who they are. That connects back. The answer here is D. Okay, D. If you look at 6C, Soon, other circus performers, right there, other circus performers began performing the same way. The other circus performers, enjoyed the comfort of performing in underwear rather than costumes. When popular acrobat in Korean, gokye-sa, in like a circus, they're amazing. Acro means high, like Acropolis, and Acropolis is high city, Acropolis, high city. So acrobat, they're up and they're doing all kinds of gymnastics up in the air. Really amazing to see. It became known as the leotard. So now these days, when I was a boy, we had leotards. They were sort of exercise pants for PE class. And now the technology has advanced, and we have yoga pants and stretch pants and athletic pants, cycling shorts, cycling pants. A leotard was like a precursor to today's yoga pant, very tight, but also you could it helped protect your legs. If you were rubbing against the floor or on your knees a lot, they would protect, and also comfortable and good. You had flexibility and motion in them. But you can think of a leotard basically. You can think of them as the grandfather of the yoga pants. Number 7, it was a taste sensation. What's it? Do you know? No. Right away, when you read these bold sentences, you must get used to, you sort of train yourself to notice the clue word. It, boom. It was a taste sensation that stayed on his mind. Stayed on his mind means remembered. And here the answer again is D. Look at C. As the temperature dropped that night, colder, okay, decrease in temperature, the soda water froze around the spoon, creating a tasty treat. So he put the juice mix and water and soda water and then stirred it with a spoon. And his mother said, "Come in for dinner." "Okay, Mom." He put it on the porch, porch is a bit like a veranda or a deck, and forgot it. And it got really cold, below zero. It froze. And he woke up and it was frozen in the cup around the spoon. He took the cup out, ate the ice, and that's how the popsicle was invented. Now, notice 7D. A tasty treat, taste sensation. Delicious taste. Tasty treat, taste sensation. Perfect connection. D. But look what else it says. Years later, remembering how enjoyable the treat had been. Okay, remembering how enjoyable. Remembering stayed on his mind. Remembered. So 7, the bold sentence connects backwards and forwards. Connects back and forward. D, 7D. And popsicle, very, very popular here in Korea. Every 편의점 has, various forms of popsicles and that you can buy, various flavors and different styles. It's interesting. The word popsicle comes from pop, soda, pop. Soft drinks, where I'm from in the U.S., we call them pop. Coca-Cola, Sprite, 7-Up, and so on. The pop, because when you pour, it goes pop, 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 right? The bubbles. So some people in America call those drinks sodas, but some people call them pop. And we all sort of refer to them as soft drinks. Icicle, do you know icicle? Icicle in Korean is goderum. And so it's like frozen ice. So pop plus icicle equals popsicle. Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Uranium. This is very scientific. This one was a bit tough. The isotope is an isotope is sort of a variant of something. Okay, the 3 naturally occurring isotopes of uranium are U-234, 35, and 38. Okay, 3 isotopes. So they're all uranium. U. But they're a different type, slightly different type of uranium. That's an isotope. Think of a rose, right? Changmi, a rose. Okay, when you think of a rose, okay, red. Most roses are red, yes. In your mind, picture of a rose, it's red. But they're not all red. There's white roses and other colors, like purple, even blue. So there's different types. There's still a rose, but they have a different color. It's like an isotope, okay? That's kind of like an isotope. It's the same thing, but it's slightly different in some ways. And if you look at 8C, each has a different number of neutrons and thus has a different atomic mass, which is the sum of the number of protons and neutrons. So each one has the same number of protons, but they have a different number of neutrons. So proton is the same, 92, 92, 92. But the neutrons are different, and when you add the proton and neutron together, then you get a different number, a different atomic mass. And that's why they have 234, 35, and 38. So the answer is D, number 8D. Here is exactly what they were talking about in the paragraph. Okay, so 8D says, well, U-234 has 92 protons and 142 neutrons. Therefore, 92 plus 142 is 234. That's why it's U-234. U-235 is 92 plus 143, 235. And U-238, 92 and 146, 238. 8D, 8 is D. It summarizes and gives the exact numbers, the math for what the whole paragraph is talking about. And it naturally follows 8C. Okay? Each has a different number of neutrons and therefore a different atomic mass. And here are the examples, A, B, and C. Number 9, paragraph 3. These neutrons can create a chain reaction by causing other U-235 nuclei to break up. Nuclei is the plural of nucleus. Right away, these neutrons. Okay, what are these neutrons? We don't know. Okay, it's plural. Neutrons with an S, these. The answer is C. Look at 9B. Nuclear fission. Fission is when you separate something, separate the atom. A fissure is a big crack. For example, in a mountain, a fissure is a large crack in the mountain, in the rock, separating it. Fusion, don't be confused here. Fusion is when you bond things together. Nuclear fusion is when you bond atoms together. Fission, separate, fusion, bond together, like fuse. Nuclear fission can occur when a U-235 nucleus is struck by a neutron and the nucleus separate. Like when you break up with a girlfriend, you split up, you separate. Releasing energy and releasing 2 or more neutrons. There you go, these neutrons. 2 or more, plural, these neutrons. Number 8D, number 9C. Okay, that's some pretty serious math there, some physics. I hope, but here, again, like if you're like me, I'm not a scientist. I'm certainly not an expert in physics, and maybe you aren't either. But don't be intimidated by the title, uranium and all these U-232 and atom and fission. Don't be intimidated because you don't know much about it. The answers are there. They're not testing you on science and physics, nuclear physics. They're testing you on English reading, academic English reading. You can answer the questions. Okay? Just focus on them, look at them, and remind yourself of the English skills and the reading skills that you need, not the science skills. Theodore Dreiser. Okay, I'll go through this a bit quickly. It was a tough one, but most of you seem to do pretty well on it. It was a man who, he's not exactly famous today. He was a writer in the early 20th century, but if you studied American literature, you would read at least 1 or 2 of his books. If you studied English literature, you'd probably read at least 1. So he's one of those sort of classic writers that's written a core book that we consider a great novel. And that novel was Sister Carrie. And the interesting thing was that it's a great novel. I've read it. It's very interesting and it tells a good human story. But it was considered very dangerous and dirty when he wrote it, and so it wasn't well liked at first, right? But now, when you read it, it's nothing compared to most novels today. It's not really dangerous or dirty or bad or anything. It's just sort of a normal story. Well, with art, there has to be a first person, a first artist that changes a style, right? And usually, whether it's painting or sculpture or music or movies, when somebody tries a new style that goes against the convention, the traditional way, everybody hates them because the older generation, this is bad, don't do this. But they're challenging the conventional way by doing something new. And it's not until the next generation, the younger ones come, and they go, wow, that was really cool. I like that style. That was a new style. And they come up and build up that style and follow it. And then that person becomes famous because he or she created that new genre, that new style. But yes, usually not until, after they've died, like, who is it? Monet, Claude Monet, a very famous French painter, created a style that now is considered great art. He's considered one of the greatest, but at the time, the older generations, they didn't like his style. They said it was no good, and so on. Van Gogh, what he sold one painting in his life for $1 or something. He was never made any money, but he's considered one of the greatest painters of all time now. Okay? Dreiser's a bit like that, right? It was the next generation of writers that followed him. And so that's why now, when great writers follow your style, it means you had a great style, right? You influenced the next generation, and that's a sign of being a great artist. Okay, number one, this forceful first novel. What is it? It's Sister Carrie. This novel. Okay, those are the clue words. The answer is C. It was in Sister Carrie that Dreiser created a fictional account that laid bare, that exposed to the harsh reality, the rough, dirty reality of life in the big city. And he established himself as the architect of a new genre. Genre is like style, a new way. It's very common with art, a genre of art, music, novels, painting, whatever. Number two, paragraph 2, Dreiser was born in 1871 into a large family whose fortunes, money, wealth, had in the recent past recently taken a dramatic turn for the worse. Dramatic turn is big change. Dramatic, big, huge. Turn, change for the worse. So from good to very bad. Number 2 is A. Dreiser's family had formerly been rich before it had become poor. Its fortunes went negative, down, rich to poor. A. Number 3, in his work as a reporter, he was witness to. To witness something is to see it, to watch it, or observe it. The seamier, dirtier side of life, and was responsible for recording events, writing down, recording with a voice recording, or writing down. In those days, writing down. That befell, that happened to. To befall means to happen to. Events that befell the less fortunate, the poor people. Events that happened to these poor people. And who are they? The beggars, alcoholics, prostitutes, and the working poor. The less fortunate in the city. B. Dreiser observed, was witness to, observed, there's your synonym, and wrote about, recorded events, wrote about the poorer classes, right? The working poor, prostitutes, beggars, alcoholics. Complete restatement with synonyms. That's the key. Number 4, at this young age, what age? I don't know. That's the clue. At this young age, beginning of the sentence, look back. Go to 4B. He left home at the age of 16. That's a young age. At this young age, Number 4 is C. But notice at the end of this bold sentence, he supported himself by taking odd jobs. Odd jobs means like sort of temporary, part-time, work one day just to make money. Like if you have no job, but somebody's, hey, we need somebody for one day and we'll pay you, Momo dollars. Okay, and you work because you need to make money. So that's an odd job, okay, temporary. And it says for C, it says after earning some money, right? Working odd jobs after earning some money. It connects at the beginning and at the end. Number 5, paragraph 3. It was rather uncommon, for a novice writer to achieve so much so quickly. What did he achieve? What was it? Okay, look back. Novice, remember novelty, innovative, innovation, new. A novice writer means a new writer, okay? Somebody who's new at writing. Here the answer is B. Look at 5A. Dreiser first tried his hand. Try your hand, first attempt to do something. At fiction, writing fiction, by writing short stories rather than novels. And the first 4 short stories that he wrote were published. That's unusual, right? Usually a writer has to write many times, many stories, and then you get published. Well, here it's rather unusual for a novice writer, first tried his hand, first time a new thing, novice, to achieve so much so quickly. First 4 stories got published. Number 6, as Carrie progresses from factory worker to Broadway star by using, this has a very negative connotation. Manipulating here means using people for your own benefit, your own increase in power or wealth. Dreiser sends a clear message about the tragedy of life that is devoted purely to the quest for money. Number 6 is B. Dreiser used one of his characters, Carrie, as Carrie progresses. Carrie is the main character in Sister Carrie, to demonstrate the negative aspects, tragedy of life, negative, tragic, of lust for money, quest and lust. Lust means a desire for something. Quest is also wanting something, trying to get something. Lust and lust for, quest for are very similar. Again, synonyms, restatement. Number 6C is a restatement of the sentence. Number 7, paragraph 4. These changes were intended to tone down, bring down, not so harsh, but down, lower. Some of the stark is open, bare, nothing covering it. And more scandalous descriptions. Number 7, what are these changes? Again, the first 2 words are your clue words. It's very common with these types of questions. Look right at the beginning of the sentence. At this young age. What young age? This forceful first novel. What novel? These changes. What changes? Sister Carrie, unfortunately for Dreiser, did not achieve immediate success. The novel was accepted for publication by Doubleday Publishing Company, but Dreiser was immediately asked to make major revisions to the novel. A revision is a change. They asked him to make major revisions. They asked him to make major changes. These changes were intended, revisions, changes. Again, it's very common to connect with a synonym like that. Okay? Noticing synonyms when you read is important in every way, for vocabulary, for understanding the context, and for answering questions like this. Number 8, having sunk to a point, really low point in life, where he was considering suicide, he was sent by his brother to a sanatorium in White Plains, New York, where he eventually recovered. Number 8 is D. His brother stepped in. His brother got involved. His brother sent him there. Stepped in, got involved to help him, send him to the sanitarium after he became so depressed he considered killing himself. Sanatorium is a place where you, really for mental health patients. Okay, we don't use the term sanatorium anymore. It's more of like a mental health clinic. So people who have problems with mental health, they want to become normal again, or sane, S-A-N-E, means sort of regular mind. The word insane means like crazy, something is not right. Insane. So sane, regular, insane, not regular, not right. So sanatorium is a place to become regular again in your mind. Number 9, the recognition that accompanied the success of the novel was based not only the recognition of the being famous, being known for something, and it's positive. So positive things, people saying positive things about his novel. Not only on the power of the description of the perils, the trouble, the danger of urban life, city life, but also on the new trend in literature, new genre, new style, new trend, that Dreiser was credited with establishing. D. Dreiser achieved acclaim, fame, positive reaction from critics and fans and people. So the recognition is the critical acclaim. He achieved acclaim because his writing was so powerful, the power of the description of the city, and he established a new trend, a new style, a new genre. Notice how the last paragraph, the end, connects back up to the beginning, right? The beginning of the end of paragraph 1, okay, the thesis statement, the main point. He established himself as the architect of a new genre. Okay, this is a main point. And then actually the next sentence talks about Sister Carrie, which is really the bridge. But the point here is that he was the architect, the creator of a new style, a new trend, a new genre, and that connects to the last sentence here. Good writing brings everything together from the end to the beginning. All right, and last one, 10. This company, what company, was one that published magazines. Well, they talk about two different ones here. They talk about Butterick's and they talk about B.W. Dodge, but actually the answer is B, Butterick's. Why? After leaving the sanatorium, he took a position as an editor for Butterick's, this company, perfect connection. The next one, B.W. Dodge, which republished Dreiser's novel Sister Carrie. This company doesn't connect to Sister Carrie. It connects to Butterick's, 10B. Okay, 10B is the answer. So if you look at the top here, they mentioned 3 very famous writers, Steinbeck, Fitzgerald, and Hemingway. Now, you've probably never heard of Dreiser, but if you studied American literature, you would definitely read his novels and learn about him. But he influenced the next generation. They are 3 of the greatest writers in American history. Steinbeck, John Steinbeck, many people consider the best novelist in American history. He wrote Of Mice and Men, The Red Pony, East of Eden, Grapes of Wrath. Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald, of course, wrote The Great Gatsby, and Ernest Hemingway wrote 4 or 5 of the best novels in American history. And I know Hemingway and Steinbeck both won Nobel Prizes. Not sure about Fitzgerald. But anyway, he influenced these writers. So this is a sign that he was a very influential and important artist. Okay, page 46, pulsars. Page 45, 46. Now, we're going to do this together now. You're going to do it, and then I'm going to review it. Treat it as a test, okay? You can actually skip page 45 and just look at 46. This is a good review of all 4. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. And what are they? Well, it's astronomy. We're learning about things up in space. There's a lot of astronomy in our textbook here. Go ahead. There's 13 questions, so 20 minutes. Time yourself. Try to finish pulsars in 20 minutes. If you can't, then of course still finish it, but really push yourself. It's a very good review exercise. It's very scientific, of course. And there are 13 questions that review all that we've studied up to now. Units 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, go ahead. 20 minutes. Try to finish everything, questions, then come back, and I'll review the answers for you. Good luck. Go ahead, everyone. Okay, to emanate from, number one is to come out, to be emitted from, or develop from. Emanating from spinning neutron stars. They come from or develop from these stars. Now, notice though all is not known about pulsars. That's key. We don't know everything about them, right? Scientists are still studying and learning about them, what they are, how they form, where they are. Okay, science by nature is always asking questions. And right now, one area of science that's really a frontier, an area where we don't know much, is of course outer space. Because it's far away, we can't get there yet, and we're learning, but it's very difficult. So not all is known. All is not known about pulsars. Number two, what made this pattern unusual was that unlike other radio signals from celestial in the sky, right? Celestial, heavenly in the sky, celestial objects, the moon, the sun, stars, everything in the sky. This series of pulses had a highly regular period of 1.33730199 seconds. Could you imagine? That's pretty perfect. That's pretty exact. I don't think a human being could ever do anything that exactly the same. Exactly 1.3, even every 1 second would be hard, but this is 1.33730119 seconds. Wow. C. Very unusual that the pattern of the pulsars was so regular. Number three, they be the pulses, of course. Number four, raise. To raise an idea means to bring up an idea or suggest. I'd like to raise this point is a suggestion, bringing it up. Okay, raise a question, ask a question, suggesting through a question. B, number four is B. Number five, this name was selected. Bingo, right at the beginning. So often, these sentence insertion questions have the clue right at the beginning. This name was selected. What name? Number five is D. Over the next few weeks, the name Pulsar, connect, this name, was selected instead of LGM, Little Green Men. This name was selected. The name Pulsar was selected instead of LGM. This name was selected because And regularly pulsing radio source, pulsar, pulsing. Makes sense. Number five, D. Number six, D, to engage in something is to take part, participate, be involved, be engaged, to be engaged in a conversation, be involved or take part in the conversation. Number seven is B, their nature. Of course, the main point here is the pulses and the pulsars. Number eight, A, okay, let's look. Pulsar, however, this idea was also rejected because the fastest pulsar known at the time pulsed around 30 times per second. That's pretty fast, yeah. 30 times in 1 second. Impossible. And a white dwarf, which is the smallest known type of star, would not hold together if it were to spin that fast. Sure. So if a star is spinning so fast, 30 times in 1 second, it would explode. Too fast. It would not hold together. That speed is too fast. The A. Pulsars could not be white dwarfs, key point, because the frequency of the pulsars is too high. Frequency is too high, speed is too fast, spinning too fast. It was too high. Why is it too high? Because if they spun that fast, it would explode. It would not hold together. Number nine is C. Further means more. Further evidence, more evidence, or additional, more. Number 10 is a bit of a tough one. The answer is A. It is believed, it is theorized that the supernova of 1054 created the Crab Nebula, which contains a pulsing neutron star. So the Crab Nebula is what remains of the supernova of 1054. So the 1054 supernova created the Crab Nebula. Crab Nebula is like, imagine like breaking a glass and there's little pieces of glass all over the place. That's the supernova, is this explosion of a star and little pieces go everywhere. like fragments of a glass. It has been theorized, okay, it is believed, it is theorized that neutron stars sometimes remain following supernova explosions. Okay, after the explosion, the fragments, the pieces are all over the place. It is believed that the pulsar coming from the Crab Nebula is evidently just such, exactly a neutron star. Exactly this, exactly a neutron star. Number 10 is A. Number 11 is B, properties, characteristics of something, right? Scientific properties, scientific characteristics. And number 12, it is C, one of the beams. That one's pretty easy, I think, 12C. And 13 is D, okay? The periodic flashing of pulsars is related to rotation rather than pulsing, so the name pulsar is actually not very accurate. This is summarizing the paragraph and really summarizing the whole passage. We call them pulsars, but they're not really pulsing. Boom, boom, boom. No, they have the lighthouse theory, tungde. Lighthouse is tungde. And the light, right? In a lighthouse, right, the light goes in a circle. And so it's a sweeping motion. It's not a pulse, boom, boom. It's a sweep, okay? Sweep, like sweeping the floor, like this. But as you know, a lighthouse, the light goes in a circle. The sweep is a circle. And so every time it sweeps over Earth, boom, 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 it gives this pulse. We still call them pulsars, though. It's easier to just call them that than lighthouse theory. Okay, that one was a little tough, but it's a good review. I hope you did well. If you had questions or problems with the pulsars review exercise, please ask me in your email, okay? Please. And as always, I strongly recommend after I go over each passage, you should read it again, okay? You've taken notes, you've listened, you've got your answers, maybe you got a few wrong, read it again. It'll really help you remember not just the vocabulary and the story, but it'll help you remember the key points of why the answer is this and how you found the answer and that sort of thing, okay? Really good practice. All right, guys, good work. Let's continue. Skill 5, factual information. Okay, look at line 2 on page 49. The answers to these multiple choice questions are often restatements of what is given in the passage. That's the key. Factual information is a restatement. Look for synonyms. Look for restatements. Don't look for the exact same sentence. And don't look for the exact same words. Now, some words might be the same, but if an answer has too many of the exact same words, it's probably wrong. It's probably a trap to catch you. Okay, according to paragraph 1, the word doored. Okay, doored. Doored? That's not a word. Okay, the word doored appeared in a 1934 American dictionary defined as density. Okay, density is mildo, as it is used in physics and chemistry. Doored was added to the dictionary when a typesetter, okay, a typist, who was making entries into the dictionary misread, read wrong, read mistakenly, the entry D, capital D, or D, small d, and typed it as doored. Interesting. D, big D, or D, small d, D or D, and they thought, oh, doored, density is doored. No, they misread that. Okay, you know, in science, they use letters to represent properties, like E equals mc squared, perfect example. E, energy, mass times the speed of light squared, but EMC means something. Well, in density, mildo is D, but it can be big D or small d. D or D. Paragraph 2, question 2. In a 1470 edition of Cicero's works, Ctesippus was miswritten as syllabus. The miswritten ghost word syllabus has now achieved status as a commonly used word. Number 2 is C, the misspelling of a different word. So isn't that interesting? Wow, when you read this again, notice that that word syllabus is a very common academic word. Your professor gives you a syllabus every semester. I gave you one. It's like class plan. And that's the proper word that we use in English, syllabus. But really, it comes from Latin and it's wrong. It was Ctesippus. Wow. Somebody made a wrong spelling. Now notice today, if you make a wrong spelling, you can fix it in 1 second or less, instantly. Okay, in 1934, somebody made a mistake. It took 1 year to fix it. All right, and in 1470, somebody made a mistake more than 500 years ago, and we never fixed the mistake. See what technology has done? 500 years ago, you make a mistake, it just stays. We have a new word, we can't change it. 100 years ago, we could change it, but it's going to take a year. Now, any mistake is instantly changed. As always, read the paragraphs again, read the introduction again, and of course, read that shaded box on page 50. Notice the key words. Question recognition is so important. According to Momomo, it is stated, it is indicated, it is mentioned. You must remember that, because when you see those words, right away you go, okay, factual information question, look for synonyms, look for restatements. This is how you save time, and this is how you get the answers right on the TOEFL. Lake Baikal, we've talked about that before. Remember the 3 lakes and how they were formed? Well, here we're going to learn more about Lake Baikal, the deepest lake in the world. Okay, go ahead. Lake Baikal, take about 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. If you need more time, okay. But try see if you can finish in 5 minutes. Read it and answer 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do your best. Good luck, everyone. All right. Crescent-shaped Lake Baikal. Okay, now number 1 is an example of not the perfect answer, but the best answer. Crescent, okay, crescent, one of those sort of part of a moon, or croissant. The French word croissant means, it's just crescent is the English word for croissant. And that, the croissants are shaped like a crescent. Number 1 is D. That's not really a new moon though. To be honest, it's a moon, but a new moon is usually something a little different. But A is wrong, B is wrong, C is wrong. Only D is possible. D is like, but it's not exactly wrong. It is shaped like a moon. So we have to accept D. One of them has to be better than the others, and it's D. Number 2 is A, 9th largest lake in area. So its rank is number 9. If you are ranked number 9, how many are above you? 8. Therefore, 8 other lakes have a larger surface area. A. Number 3 here is D. 1/5 is 20%. 1/5 is 20%, and it's not of the world's water. No, gosh, there's so much more water in the world. It's the world's fresh water, non-salty. Okay? There's salt water. The oceans are salt water, and some lakes are salt water. And most lakes and rivers are fresh water. Fresh water, salt water. Therefore, number 3 is not A at all. It's D, 20% of the world's fresh water, 1/5. Number 4, the average depth of the lake is 400 meters below sea level, and the Okon crevice, the lowest known point, is more than 1,600 meters deep. Therefore, it's the lowest. What's another word for the lowest point? The deepest point. Number 4, C, the deepest point. Number 5, B, formed when sections of the earth were moving away, splitting apart. It began forming 25 million years ago as Asia started splitting apart, moving away from each other, like a couple splits apart. They move away. They break up, split apart. Remember, like fission, nuclear fission. All right, number 5 is B, a fault. A fault is where the plates touch each other, and so there's a crack there, right? Where you have faults underneath the surface, that's where we have, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis will occur at these fault lines. A series of great faults. Let's do one more. Passage to the postage stamp. Okay, again, see if you can finish in 5 to 7 minutes. If you need more time, that's fine. Do it now. Do passage 2, come back, and I'll go over the answers. Go ahead. Number 6, the keyword is in the question here. Postage stamps were first suggested. Another word for suggested is proposed. To propose something is to suggest it. Line 2, first proposed in England in 1837. Therefore, number 6 is C. 1837 is the first half of the 19th century. After 1850 is the second half of the 19th century. Number 7, paid by the sender, A, based on the weight of the letter and collected in advance of the delivery. In advance of the delivery, before the delivery. So who pays before? The sender, not the receiver. If you receive it and pay, then that's not in advance of the delivery, that's after the delivery. So paid for by the sender means collected, paid, I pay, they collect in advance of the delivery. Number 8, D, okay, it wasn't designed by Queen Victoria. It had a silhouette of her, a picture. It wasn't a drawing of a black penny, it was a drawing of Queen Victoria. And it wasn't 14 stamps in a sheet. No, it was 14 grams or less. 14 grams, very light. D, very lightweight letter. Number 9, B, okay. Brazil was after England, but before Switzerland. Therefore, B. And number 10, C. 2 different denominations were introduced in the U.S. A denomination is sort of a assigned value for something, usually by the government. So when a government makes a stamp, we don't really use them much anymore, but a stamp, it'll put a cool picture on it, something, be a flower from the country or a famous person, right? And then they will say, this stamp is worth X. That's a denomination. Okay, money is the most common. In Korea, the government creates 4 kinds of paper currency, 4 different denominations: chanan, ochanan, manan, omanan. In Korean currency, there are 4 denominations. Okay, coins, also 4. Shipwon, oshipwon, obekwan, no, bekwan, obekwan. 4 denominations of Korean coins. Okay, homework. Good work. Any questions at all, please ask in your email. Page 53, 54, 55. That's it. Okay, 2 passages. Passage 3, the Clovis culture, and passage 4, brown dwarfs. And then stop. Reading skill 6 will begin together next week on the video lecture. How are we doing? Questions? I'm ready. Please ask. Okay? I actually really enjoy when you ask good questions. Let's go to skill 3 of listening. Pragmatic understanding, page 139. Baek Samshipgu, page 139. The function. Now, pragmatic is like our class, 실용, right? Pragmatic is like practical. And the first skill is the function. The function is why. Line 2 here, this type of question asks you to understand not just what the speaker said, but why the speaker said it. You'll listen again, you'll see the headset. Listen again to momo momo, and it'll be, you listen, and the question is, why does the student say momo? Or why did the professor ask momo? Okay, why? What is the reason? Go ahead and listen to the example, page 139, and answer questions 1 and 2, page 140, 141. Okay, go ahead now, listen, answer the questions, and come back. Number 1, listen again, what does the professor mean when he says this? Okay, if it's a short question, he's in a hurry. Bali bali, I don't have a lot of time. D, I don't have much time to answer a question. Quick question, yeah, what is it? But only if it's quick. D. Number 2, listen again. Why does the student say, you mean we don't need to turn into written answers to the questions? In English, when we say, you mean, it means, do you mean? Is this what you mean? Do I understand you well? Very common for a student to say this to a teacher or a professor, because the student's checking. When you're talking to the professor, you want to make sure you understand the professor well. So you're checking, okay, Do you mean this? He's like, do I understand well? Because you want to make sure. So C, she is verifying what she thinks. Verify means to check and see if something is true. Verify, is this true? Is this right? And I put in your notes, in vino veritas. It's a famous Latin phrase. If you look at today's class notes, at the bottom of the page, in means in Latin, vino veritas. Veritas means truth, okay? To verify is to make sure this is true. Okay, in vino veritas, what's vino? V-I-N, wine, like vine, vineyard, vintage. Okay, when you see V-I-N, it usually has to do with grapes or wine or a winery. And so in wine, there is truth. In vino veritas means in wine, there is truth. You want to know the truth? Make somebody drink a lot of wine, and then they'll tell you the truth. All right, let's do a couple here. Of course, read the introduction on your own. Page 142, please look at the shaded box. Very helpful, very important. I've told a lot of you in my emails to you individually and as a class, what you put into this class, the more you put in, the more you get out. If you just do the work, finish, okay, you might improve, and you will, and you'll learn, and that's great. But if you really want to improve faster and higher, you need to put a lot of time. You need to read all the introductions. You need to do the questions as I'm giving them to you. Follow my instructions. You need to read again all of the passages and look at everything. Go over the vocabulary. You need to listen again to the passages. Practice your note-taking. More time, more effort, more gain. But it's really up to you. Consultation, the library. Okay, we're gonna listen here. I guess, number 73, I guess, listening file. The library, we see a librarian, the man, and we see a student, the woman, and they're chatting in the library. Okay, go ahead and listen and come back and I'll review it for you. All right, the script begins on page 586, so you should look at page 586 while I review it, I think. Number one, he says, the woman says, can you help me? And the man says, that's why I'm here. What do you need? I'm here to help you. My job is to help you. Therefore, number one is B. I'm ready to help. Okay, that's why I'm here. Number two, it's a bit of a strange here. It's not common. That's why I asked. Okay, I wouldn't really say that. It sounds a bit rough, but anyway, you need to know how old the magazine is to find it. Well, that's why I asked. Okay, what he really means is, yes, I do. I do need to know the age. I asked you because I need to know that. If I know the age, I can help you. Number two is A. I do need to know. He does need to know. Emphasis. I do need to know. He does need to know. The helping verb do here provides emphasis to the sentence. Number three. Well, the magazine I want to find is more than a year old, so that means I need to go to the second floor. Excuse me. What am I saying? The third floor. Remember what we learned. What am I saying? Every day of our lives, we make a mistake when we talk, right? It's normal, you know. I went hiking with my friend on Saturday. Sunday. What am I saying? I went on Sunday hiking with my friend, right? We do this all the time. It's normal. It's natural. But it's not natural in the TOEFL. It's a script. When you hear this mistake, realize that you're going to get a question about something about that mistake. Sure enough, number three is C. She just said something incorrect, but not accidental. Script, planned. Okay? And in English, what am I saying? Means, oops, I made a mistake. Number four, feel free to come by anytime. Just means I'm always ready to help you. D, I'm ready to help. I'm eager. Eager means excited to help, or it's a little strong word here, but yeah, it doesn't mean B. It doesn't mean he has a lot of free time or that it's free, no. C, no, that's too general. He doesn't want her to feel relaxed. He wants her to know she can ask him anytime, any question. So it's not like, your doctor or your dentist trying to, okay, just relax, calm down. Not like that. It just means feel free to come by anytime, means I'm here to help you anytime at all. Don't worry about it. And I'll help when I can, as much as I can. Number 2, passage 2, conversation, the transcript. Now, a few weeks ago, we learned about the grade report. Every semester, you get a grade report, right? All the classes you took that semester and the grades in those classes. You get it online, and I think the university mails you in a paper one as well. But the transcript is bigger. The transcript is all of your university classes, like your entire university history. So when you're a senior and you're graduating, this is a very, very important document, right? If you want to go to graduate school, Daehagwan, you need a transcript. They need to see your transcript to accept you. Sometimes a job application, they might want a transcript. But anyway, very important document of all university classes, courses, and grades, all in one. Let's listen. 2 students talking on campus, right? No professor, 2 students. So it's sort of a casual conversation about university life. Go ahead. Okay, number 5. This is again page 586, 587. Okay, Obek Palshimyuk Palshipchil. You can see the scripts. The man says, all you have to do is ask. Okay, they're good friends, right? Hey, Sam, I have a question. Oh, just ask. I'm your friend. You ask me any question. If I can help you, I will. That's what friends are for. D, he is happy to help her. Number 6, I think I can handle that one. To handle something means to manage it. Manage, literally handle, like a door handle. You use your hand to open it, but you manage the door with the handle, right? And be careful. I know in Konglish you say handle, but for a car, but it's actually steering wheel. It can be confusing with the native speaker. What you call handle, we call steering or guiding wheel. And the door handle or doorknob is where you open the door. But anyway, to handle a question, to manage a question is, of course, to answer the question. B. Number 6 is B. He can answer that. Oh, I can handle that. I can answer it. No problem. Yeah, I can help you. Number 7, that's all there is to it. Wow, that's all? Only that? When somebody says, that's all, they're surprised it's easier or it's less or faster than they thought. Okay, that's all shows kind of happy surprise. It's not as difficult as you thought it would be. Number 7 is C. That sounds too easy. Number 8. You may get lucky, but don't count on it. Don't count on it means probably not. Okay? Don't count on it means exactly maybe, but probably not. Number 8 is A. Not likely. Not likely means probably not. And number 9, the last one, if I were you, I'd get over to the registrar's office immediately. Dunglok Samugwan, registrar's office, kind of a main important main university office at every university. Okay, I'd get over there right away. In other words, bali, go now, go, get there. B, don't waste time. Go now before it's too late. Okay, very good. Again, when you look at the picture, you know that it's 2 students. So it's not a lecture. It's not organized academically. It's a conversation. So when 2 friends meet on campus and it's going to be questions and answers. You're not going to get something just blah, blah, blah. My life is, there's a point to every conversation. And every conversation they're usually about university life, student life, okay, like this. And you have to prepare to listen for questions and answers. The conversation has a flow. Okay? Follow that flow. What is the question? What is the answer? Where do I go? How can I do this? How long will it take? Is it possible? These are the key points. The answers are the key points. Those are the answers to the questions that the woman is asking. Okay, wow, great work, everyone. So for homework and listening, passages 3 and 4, and then stop. Passage 3, zoology, the opossum. Passage 4, more astronomy, our favorite topic, right? We're becoming astronomers here with all this astronomy we're studying. Venus. I think Venus is, of course, one of the planets. So I think it's the planet closest. Yeah, it's closest to us, I believe, in the solar system. So that's it. The opossum and Venus. Do those on your own. I will review them next week, and then stop after page 147. Stop, and we will continue the next skill together in the video lecture. All right, everyone. That's it. So good work this week. Send me get the work done, and just tell me that you finished it all. Ask any questions. Get back to me by Thursday at 5 p.m. as always. I don't recommend doing it at the last minute. A lot of you send your emails to me at the last minute. Of course, it's okay, but I would prefer getting them, earlier in the week, or, if you finish it earlier, go ahead and email me earlier. As long as you get everything done, tell me you've gotten it done. Ask any question. Great. I look forward to your email. Next week, I'll talk more about the upcoming midterm test, but bear in mind the test will be during your class time in week 9, 2 weeks from now. That's all for today. Great work, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.